Welcome back to the shadowed halls of Bram Stoker's Dracula. We return to Chapter 3, Jonathan Harker's Journal, still written in shorthand by our increasingly terrified young solicitor. After 2 days inside Castle Dracula, Jonathan has begun to realize the horrifying truth. He is not a guest, he is a prisoner. The Count's courteous mask is cracking, and behind it lies something ancient, predatory, and utterly inhuman. Let us walk with Harker through these lengthening nights, where every discovery pulls him deeper into nightmare. 8 May, continued. Harker writes that sleep has become almost impossible. The weight of his situation presses upon him like the stones of the castle itself. He forces himself to remain calm and observant, qualities that have always served him well as a solicitor. He decides that his only hope is to learn everything he can about his captor and this fortress so that he might find some way to escape. He begins a systematic exploration during the daylight hours, when the Count never appears. The castle is a labyrinth of winding staircases, long galleries, and vast chambers filled with the dust of centuries. Suits of armor stand silent guard. Ancient tapestries depict battles long forgotten. Weapons from every age hang on the walls, swords, battle axes, and great two-handed blades that speak of the warlike heritage of the Sekeli race. But every outer door is locked and bolted. Every window looks out over a sheer precipice hundreds of feet high. There is no escape except through the main gate, and that too is sealed when the Count chooses. Harker's journal grows more desperate. He writes, "I am beginning to feel this nocturnal existence is telling on me. I feel myself a prisoner." Yet he continues his search. One afternoon, he discovers a door he had not noticed before, unlocked. It leads to a suite of rooms in a different wing of the castle, furnished in a more feminine and luxurious style, though still centuries old. The windows here command a magnificent view of the southern valley and the distant mountains. Harker sits by one of these windows, letting the warm afternoon sun fall on his face, and for the first time in days feels a faint glimmer of hope. He takes out his journal and begins to write. But as the sun sinks lower, a strange drowsiness steals over him. He drifts into a half-dream state, the kind where one is aware of surroundings yet cannot move. Suddenly, he sees 3 young women appear in the room, beautiful, voluptuous, with brilliant white teeth and eyes that glow with a strange, seductive fire. Their lips are full and red, their breath sweet, yet somehow disturbing. They move with languid grace, whispering and laughing softly among themselves. One of them, the fairest, leans over Harker. Her hair falls around him like a dark cloud. She bends closer, closer, until he feels her hot breath on his neck. Her sharp teeth graze his throat, hovering just above the pulsing vein. A thrill of mingled horror and strange forbidden pleasure runs through him. He longs for her to bite, even as terror screams in his mind. At that very moment, a voice like thunder cuts through the air. "How dare you touch him? How dare you cast eyes on him when I had forbidden it? This man belongs to me." It is the Count. He stands in the doorway, his face twisted with fury, eyes blazing red like living coals. The 3 women shrink back, hissing like angry cats. The Count throws a bag to the floor, a heavy sack that moves and whimpers faintly, as though something alive is inside. "Take that," he snarls, "and be satisfied for now." The women descend upon the bag with greedy eagerness. They hear a low moan, the sound of a child, followed by sickening sucking noises. Horror overwhelms him. He tries to cry out, but cannot move. Darkness claims him. When he wakes, he is back in his own room, fully clothed on the bed. The sun is rising. Was it a dream? A terrible nightmare brought on by fear and exhaustion? Or did those demonic women really bend over him, their lips seeking his blood? Harker touches his throat. No marks. Yet the memory feels too real, too vivid. And the Count's furious command still echoes in his ears. This man belongs to me. 12th May. Days blur into one another. Harker forces himself to continue acting the polite guest whenever the Count appears at night. They talk of legal matters, of the shipment of boxes of earth to England, of the details of Carfax estate. The Count is always charming, always knowledgeable, but Harker now sees the calculation behind every word. One night the Count asks Harker to write 3 letters home, dated for later in the month, saying that his work is finished and he will soon be returning to England. Harker realizes with chilling clarity that these letters are meant to cover the Count's tracks once Harker has disappeared. He writes the letters under the Count's watchful eye, but adds tiny secret warnings in shorthand that only Mina might understand. 15th May. Harker makes another desperate attempt to escape. He climbs to the top of the southern tower and looks down the sheer wall. Far below, the valley is lost in mist. He notices that the stones of the outer wall are loose in places. With trembling courage, he decides to attempt to climb down the castle wall, to reach the ground, and perhaps find a way out through the surrounding forests. That night, after the Count has retired to his own chamber, Harker strips to his shirt and trousers and begins the terrifying descent. The drop is dizzying. Wind whips around him. His fingers bleed as he clutches at crumbling masonry and twisted vines. Twice he nearly falls, but slowly, inch by inch, he lowers himself down the face of the castle. He reaches a window on a lower level and peers inside. What he sees freezes the blood in his veins. The Count is lying in a great wooden box filled with fresh earth, resting like a corpse, yet his eyes are open, staring with malevolent awareness. His face is bloated and ruddy, as though he has recently fed. The stench of freshly turned grave soil fills the air. Harker realizes with sickening horror that this is how the vampire rests during the day, in a coffin of native earth. Overcome by terror, Harker continues his climb downward until he reaches the ground. But freedom is an illusion. The great gate is locked. Every outer door is barred. He is still trapped within the castle grounds. Exhausted and despairing, he climbs back up the wall, twice as difficult as descending. When he finally reaches his room, he collapses in utter exhaustion.
16 May. The nightmare deepens. Harker wakes to find the Count standing over him, smiling with those sharp white teeth. "I trust you had a good night's rest," the Count says with mocking courtesy. "You will need all your strength for the days ahead." Harker can no longer pretend. He knows the being before him is no man, but a monster that feeds on the living. He knows the 3 women are also of the same unholy kind, vampires, the undead. The Count continues his preparations for departure to England. He speaks casually of the great work that awaits him there, of the teeming millions of London where he can hunt unseen. Harker realizes with mounting horror that he is helping to bring this ancient evil into the heart of his own beloved country. The chapter ends with Harker's journal entry filled with raw despair. I am in the hands of a being whose power I cannot measure. God help me. He clings to thoughts of Mina, of home, of the life he may never see again. Yet even as he writes, he hears the soft laughter of the three weird sisters echoing through the corridors, waiting for the moment when the Count no longer needs his guest alive. That was Chapter 3 of Dracula, the chapter where horror becomes undeniable. Jonathan Harker has seen the vampire brides, witnessed the Count resting in his box of earth, attempted a suicidal escape down the castle wall, and realized the full extent of the monster's plans. The polite nobleman has revealed himself as a creature of the night, ancient and insatiable. Bram Stoker masterfully tightens the screws of terror, the seductive danger of the three sisters, the revulsion of the Count's daytime resting place, the growing psychological breakdown of a rational Englishman who can no longer deny the supernatural. Harker is no longer merely afraid, he is fighting for his soul. If your heart is pounding and the shadows in your room seem a little deeper, then you are feeling exactly what Stoker intended. Stay with us for Chapter 4, where Harker's desperation reaches new heights and the Count's departure draws terrifyingly near. Thank you for traveling with us through these haunted pages. If this chapter left you breathless, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another entry from Jonathan Harker's journal. Remember, once you invite evil across the threshold, it is almost impossible to send it away. Lock your windows tonight. Until next time, may the dawn come quickly.